Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Karen.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am so excited to see you. Come on camera. Don't be shy. I know what you look like. So you can't look worse than me than I look some days. So come on camera. It is okay. It is okay. So how you feeling? Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Awesome. So this actually call is going to be your welcome orientation call. We're going to go over some logistics. We're going to get started. Going to tell you the overview of the program so you'll know what to expect down the road. And then we're going to jump right into it. Towards the end, I'm not going to keep you long, but I'm going to add value because I believe every time you take time away from your family and your loved ones, that you need to be adding value to your life and your business. And so we're going to make sure that we do that. And so I want to make sure that we stay on time. And so we have hit the record button. And this is our welcome session. And so, welcome to Elite Influence Leadership. And this is the entrepreneurship version. And I am excited. I'm excited about your next level. I'm excited about our partnership. And this is a partnership. I have my part, but guess what? You have your part as well. And that's the only way that it's going to work is if both of us do our part. And so I just want to emphasize that this is not just a business training, it is your professional and personal elevation journey. You know, we want to build on what you've already established. I believe all of you are thebomb.com. You'll hear me say that from time to time. And I want to reassure you that you've already possessed influence, and this program will simply refine it and allow you to expand it. And so that is our purpose of collaborating. And so I want to share my screen. I sent out a Facebook Messenger, I believe, to everyone, inviting you to join the Facebook group. It is a private Facebook group. So if you did not see that messenger, I think I sent it through email as well. But if you did not see that, then look for it, or I'll need to resend it again because it's not a public group. It is a private group. And we want to make sure that you're a part of that because I'm going to be dropping things. Hey, Claire, I'm going to be dropping things in that private Facebook group just for this cohort. And then you'll have the opportunity to ask questions, and it's just for your peers who are in this particular cohort and myself. And so make sure that you indeed join the private Facebook group. I'm also going to be dropping links in there. If we are using Zoom, I'll make sure that the Zoom links. And the reason why I do that is because we all get a lot of emails. And sometimes y'all don't read my emails. And so I need one place that you know that you can go to get the information that you are seeking, like a link or the last PDF or the last PowerPoint that we utilized. And so I'm gonna drop all of that into the private Facebook group. And so after our sessions, I'll drop the presentation there. I will drop the replays there so that you can go back and listen to them as well. Any worksheets and workbooks will be dropped there as well. I will be still letting a few people in. I will be also communicating with you via email, but I'm going to try to drop everything in the Facebook group so you'll have one repository for all those things that are part of the program. So I do have a presentation. I'm going to share my screen. So if you could give me a thumbs up just to let me know that you see the presentation on the screen. Anybody see it? Okay, great, great, great. So just kind of want to dive into the program overview. So this is a 6-month group coaching program, and we'll have monthly 2-hour sessions, but we'll have one in-person graduation intensive towards the end. So that will be in person. I'll give you enough notice to let you know when it is, where it is, so that you can plan for it. So we'll be meeting virtually each month, and then we'll have the in-person intensive, which will also be part of your graduation towards the end of the program. But there's going to be a lot of interaction in between now and when that actually happens. Of course, we'll go over the framework of elite influence. We'll talk about visibility. We'll talk about value. We'll talk about voice. We'll dig deep. We'll talk about where you are in your business, because you are entrepreneurs. We'll talk about what your goals are for your business. Don't worry that it's a group coaching program, because we will address your goals individually as well. Because the way that I operate is that I take questions from you specifically about your business as well, to ensure that you get what you need for where your business is at this particular point in time, because you're all going to be at different levels in terms of your business. Some may be more seasoned than others. Some may have opportunities for development, more opportunities for development than others. As we get started, just want to go over a few housekeeping. You can reach out to me via email, and I will give you my cell phone number. You can text me at any time you want to. However, that don't mean I'm gonna respond to you anytime you want me to. So what that means is that if I am unavailable, I will respond to you my first available time. But you do have access to me. I don't mind giving you my cell phone number. If something really comes up and you really need to touch base with me, you really need to ask a question as part of this program. And so text messaging is the best way to get my attention. We can coordinate a live phone call if needed. You say, I really need to talk to you. When are you available to jump on a call? Just text that to me, and then we'll coordinate through the text what's the best time for both you and I to jump on a call to talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about in between our meeting for group coaching. So don't worry about that. You're going to have access to me once a month. That's not how I operate. That's really there will be some things that come up where you may need a quick question, and you do have access to me. And texting is the best way to contact me. Before we get started on the program, beyond the program overview, I just want to kind of go around the room and ask. One, I'm not sure who knows who. So it's very important that we know each other. And so I want you to introduce yourself and introduce your business, kind of do your 30-second pitch per se. And then I also want to hear why you chose to invest in your business with this particular program. So I'm going to go according to my screen. And the first person that I see is I see this beautiful sign that says Williams up here. And so that would be Dr. Darlene. So if you could go first, Dr. Darlene, and introduce yourself and discuss your why.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Darlene Williams. I am My business is Darlene Williams Consulting and Restoring Bountiful Joy. We focus on helping leaders, executives transform their pain into purpose, focus on grief, healing, and restoration. And we work with individuals who have gone through a life challenge, grief, and other life challenges, and is keeping them stuck and they don't know how to move forward. I teach this from a signature framework that I developed through one of my books. I'm a best-selling author, teacher, professor, and I just enjoy using my lived experiences to help others. I chose this program because I've been affiliated with Dr. Karen for a little while. I spoke at her conference last week, and just meeting with her through that preparation process, I became very intrigued with her work and how she helps others. So I'm hoping to learn more to take my business to the next level.
Awesome. Welcome. And what year is this of your business, Dr. D?
So the business was formed in 2014, but I was working for everyone else from 2014 to 2024, and didn't really focus on it. So now it's my time.
I like that. Just want to jot down some notes here. Great. So the next person on my screen is Yvonne Lorraine.
Hello, Dr. Karen. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Yvonne Lorraine. My business is Innovative Vision. I am a veteran, a new author and speaker. At Innovative Visions, we help high-performing women and leaders to lead with peace, clarity, and confidence. And we do that so that they can not operate from a space of burnout. And I use my framework is peace. And depending on who the audience is, I speak from the framework of peace, of being able to give the acronyms that speak to that audience. I do that through training, coaching, and I facilitate retreats. My why for joining this program, one, the opportunity experience I had with Dr. Karen when I first met her, I knew automatically that I definitely wanted to be under her teaching and to get more clarity about helping me to identify what my special sauce is. Because I feel like I do a couple of things between my for-profit and my nonprofit organization. And once we figure out what my special sauce is, being able to help me to marry those two together and get me in front of the right audience.
I
Thank you.
love that. And what year is this for you, for your business, Yvonne?
I incorporated in 2016. I really started doing the work in 2022.
Okay. Okay, great. Just jotting some notes down here for myself. Next on my screen is Kathy Newman. Kathy, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kathy Thompson, CEO and founder of Kathy Newman Consulting. For me, excuse me, I specialize in helping small businesses, organizations, and professionals turn ideas into structured, profitable, and purpose-driven operations through strategic marketing, business development, and leadership alignment. With over 2 decades of combined experience in business administration, military leadership, and education, I've learned that sustainable growth begins with clarity, clarity of purpose, process, and people. That's why I work closely with my clients to identify misalignments in their marketing and sales approach, strengthen their brand identity, and develop systems that drive measurable ideas and results. At the heart of my work, I believe that business should serve as a platform for impact, not just income. My goal is to help others build businesses that reflect who they are, what they value, and the change they want to see in the world. So, whether I'm consulting, teaching in the classroom, or speaking on stage, my message is the same. Success begins when strategy meets authenticity. I incorporated Kathy Newman Consulting in 2016, and the business really started taking off in 2023. I should say started receiving profits in 2023.
Okay, okay. Because I was going to ask a follow-up question about that gap between 2016 and 2023. I was going to ask you what happened between that phase. Awesome. All right, next on my screen is Dr. Claire. Dr. Claire.
Hi, good afternoon, evening, wherever everyone else is. I am the founder of Dr. Claire Speaks, which is a training and speaking consultancy. I always say I am a cultural architect and healer, and my work is to help organizations move from performative policies to transformative cultures by focusing on the intersection of mental health, leadership, and equity within organizations. For me, it's really about the fact that a lot of workplaces ignore the hidden costs of inequity and harm, and that turns up in turnover, burnout, stalled innovation, and loss of profitability, and lots of lawsuits. And for me, as a healthcare practitioner, the workspace is one of the biggest public health threats that we don't address. And at the end of the day, good leadership not only drives well-being, but it drives profitability and connection. And that's what my focus is. I started the company 2021, and like Dr. D said, working for other people and doing other things, I really wasn't able to focus on the company until honestly the beginning of this year.
Okay, all right. I'm just for my notes, I'm gonna write down 2025 or 2024. 2025?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Great. Michelle, good evening. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I am Michelle Hawkins. My company is called Michelle's Touch. I am a holistic. I've been in the beauty and wellness industry ever since I was 18 years old. I am now a certified functional nutritional holistic and wellness coach. I've been passionate about that for the past 5 years. My company teaches women, educates women, and a few good men that aging is not a limitation, it is a new beginning through physical movement, mental wellness, and spiritual wellness. I am a first time author as of June of 2025. I have had the affordability to be with Dr. Karen for since 2023. She's seen me in a very broken space. My company was established in 2006. And I have been up and down, up and down, up and down. And now my why is me because I have served so many. I was a caregiver for almost 9 years. I lost my whole identity in that season. Now I just believe that it is my time. I am a servant leader. I know who I am finally. And I just want everything that I am supposed to have. And I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to get there. That is my why. It's me.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that is everybody that we have. I think that it's the note taker that is up here. So I think that's everybody that we have. So that's awesome. That gives me an idea of how long you've been in business or when your business kicked off for you, according to my notes. And so we're going to talk about focusing on transformation through mindset and just strategic visibility. And Dr. Bonds, are you in here? Is that you? I see your hand raised. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, y'all. My camera's low. I'm just under the weather, so that's why I'm
Okay.
not on camera. But I
Okay.
am here.
Okay, good. Okay, I apologize. I couldn't see you, but are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, I can do a brief introduction. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
I met most of you at was that the week before at Dr. Karen's Sister League event, but however, I'm Reverend Dr. Senior Barnes, also known as RDB of RDB Speaks. I not only have a coaching business, but I also have a speaking business. My goal and my priority of my business is to revolutionize organizations and individuals who have experienced trauma to lead from a trauma-informed place. Um, as you know, most organizations do not focus on individuals who have experienced some form of trauma. Thus, that leads to a lot of burnout, that leads to a lot of turnover. And so my goal is to shift what that looks like, especially for those who are battling long-term illnesses and mental illness. So that's a bit of what I do in a nutshell. I've been doing this I started this business back in 2021 formally, but I've been doing it since 2008. But life has always lifed, and I have always focused on working for someone else in all those other years. And now I'm just revamping and relaunching myself, and so that's what this is now, and that's part of my why of joining this program, so that I can put myself in the forefront and just lead the charge of being able to ensure that those who are battling disabilities and trauma are seen, heard, and safer spaces are created for them in the workforce.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. As you can hear, you all collectively are very seasoned. You are seasoned individuals. Some of you may have established your business recently, or maybe rebooting your business recently, but you all are pretty seasoned individuals, and I'm excited about that. So gonna flip to the next. So in terms of influence, elite influence, what what does elite, when you hear the term elite influence, mean to you? I mean, what comes to mind when you hear the term elite influence? You know how I feel about elite influence. You know, leaders, we have to be visible, we have to add value, and we have to be able to articulate what it is that we do. And all leaders need to be consistent, confident, and they must add clarity in every situation. But when you hear the term elite influence, because it means so many different things to so many other people, I would love to hear what are your thoughts when you hear the term elite influence, each of you. And so I'm not going to call in any particular order. Anyone who wants to chime in, what is your definition of elite influence? Your personal definition. Anybody? Somebody?
I'll go. This is Kathy. Um, when I think about elite influence, when I hear those words, it's the ability to lead, inspire, and impact others from a place of excellence, authenticity, and purpose, and maybe go beyond authority or popularity. It's about shaping your environments, elevating others, and embodying the standards you expect. I know that's long, but that's my school teacher brain.
No, you're fine. I asked you what it means to you. There's no limitation on what it means to you. I like the fact that you said beyond popularity, because elite influential leaders, they add value to every situation. And just because someone is popular, it does not necessarily mean that they add value. They could just be the loudest voice in the room. They could have, they could be the funniest person in the room. So one, when you said that, I was like that. I love everything that you said, but I really hung on to when you said not necessarily the most popular. Anybody else want to give their definition? By the way, there is no wrong definition. This is your definition, so it's no wrong definition of elite influence. Anybody else want to share what their thoughts are when you hear the term elite influence?
I'll go. For me, it's really being able to draw a transformation out of others, really being able to inspire and impact at a high level where there's meaningful change from someone. Because elite to me means really being able to sit at the table or share space with someone at a high level and being able to impact them where there's a significant, meaningful, high level of transformation. So it's stewardship of impact to me as opposed to something superior.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I love that. It's all of that. Again, there's no wrong answer, but I definitely love that. Dr. Claire, jump in with your thoughts on elite influence, and what are your thoughts in terms of how you define it? And then I'll get you, Dr. Bonds. I see your raised hand.
Thank you. For me, it's a legacy, leaving a legacy of love, impact, and transformation. And when I think of it, even when I think of this image that you've put here, one of the first thoughts that came to me was how we lead in God's plans and purpose and show God's heart and be God's hands and feet on this earth. So for me, that's what being elite influencer means.
Absolutely. Dr. Bonds, you wanted to chime in?
Yes, like I love what everybody is, is saying, and I totally agree. And I want to just piggyback and just say, when I think about it, I think about the willingness and the ability to comfortably and uncomfortably shift dynamics, whether it is in representation, accountability, or even just challenging the need for equity. How are you showing up in these spaces, and what are you bringing along with you, and but also what are you taking away? And so that's when I think about elite influence. How are you impacting those that are around you, and how are you being impacted by those that you're exposed to?
Absolutely. And it is all about not only your transformation, but the transformation and advocacy that you have for those around you, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is not just about us, it is how we impact and influence those that are around us as well. So it's about us and them, those that we lead, in terms of the impact that they make in the space that they're operating in. Yvonne Lorraine, what are your thoughts?
My thought was, when I hear elite influence leader, is being set apart, to be empowered and influence to influence, to be influenced and to influence others.
Yep. Yep. We can't grow if we aren't influenced. Does everybody understand that? That's where our own professional development, if we can't be influenced, if we can't be impact, then we can't build on our skills. We can't get better. We can't grow. So even while we are helping others reach their next level, we too also should be growing as well. Working on ourselves, gathering information, building on our skill set, learning more, so that we can move the needle with ourselves, in addition to as we're helping our customers or clients move the needle as well. Absolutely. Again, there's no wrong answer when it comes to that. So let's talk about those three pillars: visibility, value, and voice. Visibility is the ability to be seen by the right person with the right information. So what is it not? It's not simply being seen. It's not simply being seen and heard for the sake of being seen and heard, because you have to be able to communicate the right information for the right time. Otherwise, you're counterproductive to probably whatever your goals are for speaking in the first place. Does anybody disagree with that? That if you're not communicating the right information in front of the right people, then when you do speak, the information that you put out there may show you in a different light than you want to be shown. It may be counterproductive. And so it is not just, I have here the Cliff Notes version, be seen and known, but it is having the opportunity of sharing information in front of the right people, the right information. And so that's timing as well. Timing comes into play on visibility, and we'll talk about what that looks like in different scenarios, different situations in the marketplace with various customers that are at different stages, all of that. And then value. If people value what you say, what you bring to the table, what you have to offer, then they will come looking for you. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to do a hard sell a lot of times when people value, because the trust is already there. Really, all you have to do is a good job of communicating what it is that you have to offer. They will match it up with what it is that they're trying to address and determine whether or not they want to see if there's a good match for where they are right now. And so value is to be trusted and to be sought after, but trust has to come before the receipt of value. Does anybody disagree with that statement? Do you think that you can value someone or something that someone is saying when you don't trust them? Does anybody disagree with that?
No,
Can you value what someone is saying if you don't trust them?
no.
No? And when you say no, share a little bit as to why you believe no. Because there's no wrong answer.
For me, if I don't trust what someone is saying, that means, I don't value what they have to offer. And that mistrust may have come from something prior, something that happened prior, or they said, and I tried to validate it, and I found that it was untrue. So I automatically turn my ears off to them and what they have to say or present.
And trust can be lost very easy and very innocently. Case in point, you may say you're going to call someone and you got busy and you forgot to call them, a potential client or maybe a current client. And so now that client is sitting wherever they're sitting and saying, well, Dr. Karen said she was going to call me and she didn't even call me. And so now the trust is broken. Now they feel as though they can't believe what it is that you have to say. And it makes everything else that you may say a little questionable to that particular person, even if they understand why you didn't necessarily call them back at that time. But a breach of trust is something that is can cause like a crack in your foundation, and it's hard to close up that crack. It's easier for the crack to appear. It's harder for it to close up once it happens. And it could be the simplest thing, and it could be a legit reason. And so for me, the way that I try to account for those things, because life happens, especially when it comes to keeping your word, is I try to over communicate to compensate for those situations where something may happen. If I think I'm possibly going to be late or possibly not going to meet a deliverable or possibly have a conflict, I'm letting people know ahead of time or trying to rearrange things to ensure that that doesn't happen. But I'm over communicating proactively so that that trust, that breach in trust will not happen, so that we can keep that level of trust there so that they can continue to value my word. And so that we aren't trying to overcome that if that is the situation. But yeah, you can add value as long as they trust what it is that you have to say. Has anyone ever had a situation here where something real simple caused a breach of trust that you want to share? And it may just have been, it was innocent, it was simple, it was legit, but it took you a minute to get back on the other side of trust. Anybody have an example that comes to mind on a situation like that? No? Y'all have never had a breach of trust?
I have. I had a coworker when I was in working in corporate, and I think for her, she just wanted to, you know, people always want to be in the know or in the group or in the circle, but she couldn't afford, let's say she just couldn't afford designer clothes. And back then where I was working, mid management and stuff, we all wore our designer labels and stuff. And she got her clothes from the thrift store, but she would often be in the conversation, what they call it, the everybody congregates in the coffee mess or in the break room talking about shopping and where they got this. But she used to always tell the untruth about where she got her clothes from, and someone found out that she got them from the thrift store. So people say, "Oh, she's a liar. She lies about everything." And she was lying. I mean, at first, but I had being a woman of God and having faith, I had to take a step back and put myself in her shoes. She didn't, I talked to her. I was like, you don't have to lie about where you get your clothes from, to be in the crowd. Maybe this isn't the circle for you. Be true to who you are, to your whole being. And at some point, you probably could go to, you know, a designer store and get your clothes, but just don't lie about where you get your stuff from. Because at first, I talked about it, gossiped about it with, the other co-workers, and I had to repent and ask God to forgive me and put myself in her shoes. So it was innocent, but she did it to be in that circle of women.
Absolutely. Yvonne Lorraine?
Yes, I don't know if mine was so innocent, but my breach of trust came from leadership that I worked for, because they had a habit of meeting before meetings and not necessarily being honest in front of people. Where I used to work, we had to go before the town council. And once my supervisor realized that I wasn't willing or interested in doing the work that he had created, because he wanted to be able to say he had the first Black female to replace him in his job as a town manager. And once he realized I didn't want that, then he just started really trying to make me pretty much do everything he didn't want to do. He gave it to me. And that's kind of where it began. And then we just had a really bad fallout. And when I thought that those leaders who were over him were going to hear both sides and do the right thing, they didn't. So once I realized that, then I withdrew myself from really, I just didn't trust none of them and anybody at that point. So that was my experience in them in me losing the value of the trust in the office space.
Yeah, I can share, I can share a personal experience that I had. I share, but I don't do a whole lot of sharing about certain things in the workplace. For a number of reasons. I mean, I got a 30-year career. I've seen it all. When you overshare, I've seen different feelings happen as a result of that. And so I am one that kind of is very guarded. Well, at one point in my career, I was very guarded about different things. I really didn't talk about the places that I went outside of work. I traveled a lot. I, didn't really, I had certain clothes I wore to work and certain clothes I wore outside of work, simply because I didn't want people to be saying different things at work, wondering how you can afford this or how you can afford that. Um, and then because I was someone that didn't talk about material things and places I went. And then it was found out, this was before social media. Now people put everything on social media. But once it was found out that I lived here, went there, a couple of people saw me out in different places and I was dressed differently. They felt like a level of trust had been broken because that's not the person that they saw at work. So, although it's well within my right for me to wear what I want to wear and talk about what I want to talk about at work, I don't necessarily have to share that. They felt like they didn't know me. Well, they felt like they knew me, but then once they found out about those things about me that didn't match up with who they saw at work, then they felt like they didn't know me. And so there was a degree of trust that was lost there, as a result of that. And so I just had to explain to them that as a result of work hurt in the past was why I carried myself that way. And once I was able to talk to a few people about it, then they understood, this is the reason why I don't talk about a lot of things that I do, because in the past I was ostracized. And so it may be something that you say, it can also be something that you don't say that can cause people not to trust you. And so remember, even that in your business, when you're dealing with potential clients, it could be something that you say, but it also can be something that you don't share that they think that you should share that can impede your trust, and cause them to question you. And of course, the third pillar is voice, the ability to be heard and be respected. Is there any way that, if you think about it, when you think about visibility, value, and voice, is there any way that you can balance the three: visibility, value, voice, or will there always be, will they will they be in balance? Is there such thing as visibility, value, and voice being in balance, or will one always be more important than the other? And if so, share with us why you say that. Which one do you think will be or is more important than the other? There's no wrong answer.
I don't know that any is more important than the other. I think they are in harmony, but I certainly see even in the way that you have laid it out that it's almost as though building upon each other and then kind of co co-working to working together. So if you need to be trusted, so that when you're visible, people will seek you. And because you're trusted and they seek you, they will hear and respect you, hopefully. And hopefully that you also convey the same thing to them. Because I think it's important that you're visible and you add value and your voice, but that people also feel that you are valuing them and their voice and seeing them for who they are. So I think it's Yin and yang, not either or.
Absolutely. I thought I saw Dr. D come off of mute. Did you have something to add to that, Dr. D?
Yes, I agree with Dr. Claire. I like the order you have it in. I definitely think that they all have equal weight, but I would venture to say that visibility must happen for the other two to exist, because without being seen and being known and people even acknowledging that you are there, it's hard to add value in a space. It's hard for people to hear your voice if they're not even recognizing that you exist. So I would say that visibility must occur, but all three of them are in sync.
I like that. And I agree with you. I agree with you. Visibility must happen first. You know, visibility is how they, and many times if you think about even people that you've worked with in your business, before they approached you, they saw you or heard you. You know, it's two ways to show yourself as an expert: speaking, or writing. And so either they saw you or they heard you or they read something, you know, read your intellectual property. Without that visibility, they can't make the determination whether or not they feel, I don't want to use the word trust because we're talking about value and trust, but they feel connected to you enough that they want to hear what you have to say, want to see if you can assist them. And so visibility has to come first. And then the other two aren't necessarily tied to cement in terms of where they are in their place in the pillar, but definitely visibility has to come first. So your leadership identity, how would others describe your leadership today? And then how would you describe it? So how do anyone have a before and after? I can certainly tell you, I'll share my before and after story. So I am an introvert in a world of extroverts, just to be honest. And people all the time, until you really get to know me, they will say, you can't be an introvert, until they really get to know me. And then they find out I really am. And when I am passionate, when I'm talking about the things that I know, what I know, what I know, I'm very confident when I communicate. And because I'm confident when I communicate and I'm passionate, people take that as extroversion. And it's not being an extrovert, it's just merely I know what I'm talking about and it's part of my purpose. So I'm passionate about what I talk about, but I am still an introvert. And so early in my career, I suffered as a result of being an introvert because I did a lot of work behind the scenes because I hesitated about coming to the forefront. I pushed everybody to the forefront as opposed to myself. I fed everybody information so that they can look good because I didn't want to go to the forefront. And then a time came in my career where I had no choice but to go to the forefront because I had to solidify my value in an organization because I had two bosses that was trying to take me out, trying to get rid of me. And so at that point in my career, that's when I had to, again, articulate my value. It had to come from my mouth so that they would know that, no, this is Karen's idea, this is Karen's work, so that I could stand up for myself and so that I could create the identity that I had all along, but no one knew because I was an introvert. And so I continue to be an introvert, even though some people I'm not gonna say misdiagnose me, but they miscategorize me as an extrovert. Um, but it's only my extroversion only comes when I'm talking about things that I'm passionate about and when I'm trying to share information with others so that they can share information with their ideal client. And so my leadership identity actually transformed from the point where I came from the background to the foreground when I came out of the shadows, and that was merely out of survival. Merely out of survival. So when it comes to your leadership identity, I have here that your leadership identity is the intersection of your purpose, your performance, and your presence. And that's really how it happened for me. I was always a good worker. I was paid well. I was always a good worker, always made my numbers. I created leaders under me. People were promoted under me. But it wasn't until I came to the forefront, and others really saw me and heard me from my own mouth, my own presentations, recognized my own work, that I discovered my own purpose in impacting and leading others and wanting others to not suffer the fate that I suffered, which is, it was a survival at that point in my career, because I had someone who didn't want me there, a boss who didn't want me there. And the backstory is I had two new bosses that came into our company, and because I had a doctorate and they didn't, an earned doctorate and they didn't, as soon as I was introduced as doctor, it was like I had a target on my back. And they wanted to know why was I there, and they proceeded to try to get me, torture me really, to try to get me to resign. And it took a period of those two bosses in 2 years. One was there 8 months, one was there 9 months, of me being able to work through that, and establish my reputation, establish my value so that others would know what I brought to the table, and I was able to outlive them. And so when you think about your leadership identity and you think about your purpose and your performance and your presence, what is your testimony? Has there been a change, or have you been the same type of leader throughout your adulthood? I would love to hear if there's been any transformation for any of you already. There will continue to be transformation, but if there have been any transformation in the past. What's your leadership identity? Anyone want to share?
I'll share. This is Kathy. Um, for me, I changed. I'm an introvert as well. And a lot of people don't think that I'm an introvert because of me doing my business, being a school teacher for 12 years, just the different things I do. But when I come home on the weekends, I'm in my house. Sometimes I don't even go out for the entire weekend until I rejuvenate myself. People draw a lot of energy from me. But I learned this most and when I was in the military, because often I was in the field with a lot of men, and sometimes I would be the only skirt in the room or at the table. And I was quiet, very quiet, and I loved to be in the background. I didn't like, coming up front. But I learned that my leadership identity is rooted in my intentional presence, my quiet strength, and strategic influence had qualities that reflect in what I call my introvert leader superpower. I don't have to be the loudest voice in the room to command attention. My calm is my confidence because it doesn't allow me to come out of my character. Discernment, I had to learn discernment and the depth to that which is within myself. Um, in a world that often glorifies extroversion, I feel that with my type of leadership, it can thrive. Thoughtful communication. I speak with purpose, not noise, not junk. My empathetic connection. I listen deeply, or what they call active listen, to lead rationally with the calm head. Strategic discernment. I had to learn about that, how to analyze before I act or react, ensuring every move aligns with my vision. And I call it my leadership language. I had to learn a lot. I didn't want to change who I was when I had leadership roles. I wanted to be who I was born to be in God's eye. You know, I'm a child of the Most High God, and just be authentic. And this is how I create my safety, my safe place. I inspire trust and model reflection in a world that needs leaders who think before they speak and care before they command. And I had to learn a lot of that through my military days. I was on active duty for 24 years, in spaces predominantly with men.
I love that. I love that. And some of the terms that you use sound very, it shows that you have a military background, which is a good thing. Some of the terms that you use, I love that. Dr. D.
So I'm gonna keep with the synergy of being an introvert. Um, so I am 100% introvert, but no one believes that because in my leadership positions, I've always been, the executive, right? The president, CEO, the assistant commissioner, the one who's up there in the microphone all the time. But you don't know what it took for me to get into that microphone, right? It took a lot to get there. But once I'm there, I'll come back out and I'm like, how'd I sound? I was so nervous. And everyone will say, you didn't sound nervous at all. Um, my leadership, you know, I guess throughout the years has changed because I've always, like, I know some of us here have been the only woman in the room, the only Black person in the room, in that executive seat. And oftentimes I will find myself knowing the response or having the great idea previously and not saying it because I allowed people to minimize my voice up until the past couple of years. So I think the evolution for me has been becoming more. I don't even think it's confident because I'm confident in who I am and what I know, but it's being feeling more empowered in those spaces and growing in those spaces and knowing that I belong there. So I think that's changed over the years. Um, I can be the extrovert when I need to be in my leadership with my teams and with my boards and with whatever my mission and purpose is. But at the end of the day, like I have to go to this women's conference tomorrow in the city. I would rather just stay home and not go. So I'm going to force myself to go tomorrow to make those connections, but that's the introvert in me. I'll do what I need to do, but it's hard. And I think that's why I joined this program for my business because now it's me, selling my business. So I have to do that all the time. And I did it for the organizations. And for some reason, that transfer and doing it for me is problematic. And I need to figure out why and just do it.
Absolutely. And you may have clients who have the same issue. And so you need to be able to empathize, in addition, in some instances, sympathize with their struggle as you assist them in being more extroverted without totally changing over to an extrovert. Some of the and I'll get some comments from a few other people, but something that I heard is that you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You never have to be the loudest person in the room. I see your hand, Dr. Claire. You never have to be the loudest person in the room. Generally, I'm the last person that speak in meetings, and you know why? Because I'll sit in a meeting and I just gather information. When I speak, I don't repeat anything that has been said. I may synthesize everything that has been said, pull it all together, but I don't just wait for them to stop talking and repeat what has been said. And so your clients may have that issue as well about, how do I stand out? You may have to assist them, or how do I speak up, depending on if you the type of coach you may be, if you're dealing with grief or dealing with trauma, how do I speak up? And so, yeah, so we need to be able to understand their struggle just a little bit, so that we can assist them. Dr. Claire.
Thank you so much. I can definitely attest that Darlene is introverted, but also incredibly brilliant. When you see all of her charts and how she lays out her entire plans, it's on the big white erasable board. It's quite phenomenal because she hits every goal and more. Um, so I identify as an ambivert, and a lot of people read me as extroverted because similarly having to be in those leadership spaces and talking and being on stage or addressing issues or giving testimony. But Darlene can tell you, I'm nobody's emergency contact because I will go offline for days because I need to recharge. And I have a twin sister who is very much introverted, and people, because we're twins, often compare. And she's similar. She has an entire HR background, and it is the same thing of I can draw energy from people, but then I often find people pull a lot of energy from me. And so I need to recharge and disconnect. And that has shaped my leadership because being a Black woman, immigrant, all those things, so long I was told you need to just stay in the back, don't make waves, don't upset anybody. I've been told by people that look like me, you need to let them take credit for your work. I've been told by people that look like me, we're not going to call you doctor. Now, I really don't care, but when you tell me you're not going to do it, then I will tell you I won't answer because it's my preferred pronoun then. But ultimately, it is something that I think it continues to evolve. My leadership has shifted because I started to be more comfortable with my style. I identify what you said, Dr. Karen, in terms of observing. There's times when I go in and I'm completely observing every single person and taking that in, processing how what they're saying and what they're not saying because I'm trained in terms of body language and gestures, and so I'm observing all of that, and that's a lot of information coming in as well. But also then I will be the fireball if I need to be, particularly when it comes to injustice or treating people wrong. If I see somebody treating someone poorly, I'm going to say something, even if I'm uncomfortable. And I've been punished a lot for that in my career, particularly as I got into leadership. But it's helped me to solidify now that I want to be that transformational leader, and also that I lean a lot into adaptive leadership. And that's how I think the shift is happening. And I'm excited for the continued shifts because where I am today is not where I want to be tomorrow in this journey. But I've been embracing these aspects of who I am, and that's made me, I think, much better. I lean into the empathy. I've been told a lot, you can't be an effective leader because you care too much about people. And I'm like, leadership is about people. How how is it possible to care too much about a person? And so that for me is being more comfortable with this identity of empathy, of caring, of equity, of justice, and all of that. And also pushing back on the stereotypes. I've had to accept the stereotypes that are going to come. If I speak up as a Black woman, you're aggressive. And it's like, no, I'm assertive and I'm clear. And so it's helped me to find my voice as well. So it's evolving, and I welcome this opportunity to continue to evolve and learn with you and from you.
I love that. Anybody else, Dr. Bonds, you
Yes.
want to comment?
Yes, I'll go. Just to piggyback off of what everyone else said, Dr. Claire and I definitely had this conversation at the Sister Leaders Conference. We're both empaths. So I am by nature, I am an introvert. By force, I am an extrovert. I typically find myself often being the voice for those who have been done wrong, and or like you said, if I see some type of injustice, have to be the one to speak up, whether because my leadership style is rooted in integrity, it's rooted in empathy, it's rooted in advocacy. And so I have seen myself grow over the years from where I would just sit back and be the person who like helps build everyone else and push them forward, but not doing the same for myself. And so my leadership style has changed a little bit more now because now I'm more comfortable with being out in the front, although sometimes I still feel a little uncomfortable. I'm getting more used to it, and that's another reason why I decided to join this program. But it's something about it's something about leading with intention and leading with empathy and leading with a true purpose of wanting to see others do well that keeps me connected and rooted in building other leaders up. I feel like there's enough people who are trying to tear others down, especially as a woman of color, especially as someone um, who's often read the wrong way. People like, I am definitely not what you see. Like some people, like they look at me and I don't know what they see or what they think they see, but most people read me wrong. So for me, a big part of my leadership identity, it has always been proving people wrong. So whenever someone tell me I can't do something, oh, I'm definitely going to show you that I can. And so that's a big part of my leadership identity, is making sure that I'm creating other spaces that build other leaders up.
Thank you. I love that. Anybody else want to comment about leadership identity before I say what I need to say? So the reason why we're talking about leadership identity is because, again, keeping in mind the first pillar of elite influence is visibility. And we need to know why we move and why we don't move in terms of visibility. We need to understand not only ourselves, but how we perceive others to perceive us that may be hindering us from being more visible when it comes to our business, because our business is not going to be as profitable and as impactful as it can be, or we desire it to be, if we limit our visibility because we don't move in certain areas. And so we first have to understand us to understand why we do what it is we do or don't do. And so that's the reason why we're having discussion about leadership identity. It's really just to understand, in some instances, how far we come. We've come a good little ways. A lot of us have articulated our transformation in terms of our leadership identity. And then others of us are talking about the continued transformation, and that is going to be needed in order to take our business to the next level. So when I first started my speaking business, because I am an introvert, I used to attend various conferences, and I would only talk to the people that I knew and I felt comfortable talking to. So I did this for about 5 years. I went to the same conferences, I interacted with the same people that I felt comfortable with, and I didn't necessarily do a whole lot of interacting with the other people. I sat with the same people for about 5 years. Then I realized I was doing myself an injustice. One, I was going to these same events, paying money to attend these events. I was not sourcing for any new clients, wasn't acquiring any new opportunities, which was counterproductive as a business owner, because this was my consulting business. And so I had to understand how I was impacting. And then somebody said they forced themselves. Well, that's what I did. I forced myself not only to move around and talk to people who I was unfamiliar with, I also stopped going to and limited attending those events where I knew everybody. I purposely put myself in rooms where I didn't know a whole lot of people, or maybe didn't know anyone. And so I was forced to network, introduce myself to people that was unfamiliar with me, and I was unfamiliar with them. But it was a hard lesson for me, because my first couple of years of my consulting business, I was traveling all over this USA, and your girl wasn't making any money, because I was going and hanging around people where I felt comfortable and familiar. I was limiting my visibility. And so I had a coach at that time. And so having that conversation with my coach in terms of what needed to change and how I needed to change the trajectory of my business, how in terms of how I conducted myself, where I went, who I talked to, how I decided which activities I would participate in, changed my level of visibility for my business when I did that. And so this is why we're having this discussion about leadership identity, because I needed to understand that I, Karen, was adversely impacting my business by my own behavior. Wasn't necessarily because I was an introvert, it was understanding that I am the CEO of marketing. I am the CEO of the company. I am over everything. So when you are in entrepreneurship, you are the leader over everything: marketing, branding, communication, all of that. And part of being able to carry that message has to do with your visibility. And so when you opportunity presents itself, opportunity is one conversation. One conversation can change the trajectory of your business. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of events. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of speeches. It is the right stage. Remember, value being able to communicate the right information in front of the right people. It is, and so being able to take advantage of that visibility wherever you are is going to be a game changer for your business. And so I learned that lesson early. It took me about 5 years to kind of learn. And I made money, but my business wasn't profitable. So there's a difference between making money and being profitable. Profitable means you have a net revenue after you generate an income that pays all of your expenses, you have something left over. So it wasn't that I wasn't making money. It was that my business was not profitable. And in order for you to grow and build even on your own skill set and being able to buy new systems, new products or something that can help your business, then you need a net revenue that is going to be in line with those things that you have on your business plan. And we'll talk about a business plan a little later, because all of you will have a business plan by the time you leave this program. So if you already have one, wonderful, then you can just update it. But if you don't have it, then we're going to make sure that you get one, because you have to be strategic and intentional for your business. And part of that is putting pen to paper or typewriter or whatever you want to call it, and create a business plan and talk about and think about where you see your business for now. And so the reason why we're talking about leadership identity is tied into visibility and how we move impacts our business. Any other comments before we move beyond leadership identity?
Not on this, but just illustration of the point that you made, particularly around the visibility. And sometimes we don't recognize that people are watching and
Yes.
why it really matters. And so 2 days ago, I got an email from someone who I've never met. I've never seen this person comment on anything on LinkedIn, but the person, was asking me about speaking at a conference next year. And it is connected to the sector I want to be in. And based on the conversation we had when I met you, even if it's not paying I'm already going into, even if it's not paying what I want it to pay, or what, we'll see what they say
Yeah.
at my audience. But I was so taken aback by the fact the person said, I've been following you for a really long time. And I
Yep.
would love to know if we could even afford you, because we're doing this thing next May. And I'm like, I literally was like, I've never seen a single comment on any LinkedIn post from this person. And now I'm scheduled to meet with them this week, and they're involving 3 other people. They're like, we've all been watching you. Don't know who these people are. Somewhere in Wyoming. That's all I got.
I love it. I love it. And that's pretty common that people watch you and don't comment. Don't everybody don't like for the sake of liking. But that doesn't mean you're not on their radar. So congratulations to you and it's a lesson for all of us to remember that there are plenty of people, and I see you, Dr. D, plenty of people that are watching you and may go up on your page every day. The wonderful thing about LinkedIn is you'll never know. I mean, it'll tell you a few people who visit your profile, but you won't know everybody who actually look at your profile. And so people will watch you again for some time before they approach you. And it could be years. It could be, prayerfully, it won't be years, but it could be months. It could be years. And then what we think is out of the blue is not really out of the blue because they've been watching us for some time. So I love that. Dr. D.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that what Dr. Claire said. I went out to event, and when I walked in, maybe 3 or 4 people came up to me and said the same thing, Dr. Claire, that they have been watching me. Keep doing what you're doing. I look for your inspiration every morning to get me through the day. So, your post last week helped me, and they never comment. And the women's conference I'm going to tomorrow, the person has been watching me, and it's their conference that they're hosting, and they granted me a ticket for free. They said, I just want you to be in the space, be in the room, come as my guest because I've been watching you. So I just wanted to, affirm what Claire said.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I love it. And it is affirmation and confirmation that people do watch you. So my conference, this was the 5th year for my conference, and I had quite a few people tell me, I remember when you started from the conference. I remember when you started virtual, because we started out virtual. We were virtual. We started out in 2020. It was a pandemic. Everybody was sitting at home. So we started out virtual. Didn't plan to start the conference during the pandemic. God just put it on my heart to have a virtual conference. And so I called a expert, and she told me how to do a virtual conference. And then we moved it to a hybrid where we did the awards for one day, and then we still had the conference online, and then we did it live last year for the first time, fully live, and live stream was last year, and then this year was 2nd year. But we started out virtual. Every year someone tells me that they started out with me virtual. They never said anything, didn't like anything, and then boom, now they're at the live conference 5 years later and have been attached to me. One lady had referred 4 people to me, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, are you? And I called her by name. And when she said, I was like, so you're the person, because I didn't know her. They would say so and so referred me, but I didn't know her. And I hadn't had a chance to look her up on LinkedIn, which is what I had planned to do, but I hadn't had a chance. And so, yes, people will watch. That's why it's important to really be you. You got to really be authentically you, because they are also looking for that as well. They're looking to make sure that you are who they think you are in terms of your identity. And so, leadership identity. Anybody else want to add anything? That's huge when we're talking about visibility, which is the first pillar of elite influence. Anybody else want to say anything before we move forward? Okay, great. So here's an exercise I want you to do. Write down your responses and finish these sentences. I lead best when, and I want you to do this right now. Take about a few minutes. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. But I lead best when my current leadership challenge is I desire to become a leader who. Think about those 3 things. Finish those 3 sentences for me. Write those down. And then I will ask you to share. We're going to talk about that. Finish the sentence. I want you to be honest and I want you to be vulnerable. And I'm going to go first. I lead best when my current leadership challenge is I desire to become a leader who. And if you could just raise your hand when you're done and let me know that you're done, your digital hand, that would be great. But take your time. I'm more concerned about you being honest and vulnerable. I see your hand, Kathy. I see your hand, Dr. D. All right, I think Claire, okay, good. I think. So I'm going to go first. I lead best when I have time to consider all of the options. As a leader, I certainly understand that there are going to be emergency situations or there are going to be certain situations where you need to make a decision off the cuff. That's part of leadership. You just have to consider the information that you have before you and make a decision based on that. But that's not when I lead best, when I don't have all of the information and I'm forced to make a decision based on limited information. But I will make a decision because I've been in leadership long enough that I will take what I have in front of me and deduct pros and cons of what I have in front of me and make what I believe to be the best decision at the time with the information that I have. That has, throughout the course of my career, I have always said that in case something comes out later, I'll say I made the best decision at the time with the information that was in front of me at that particular time. But I lead best when I have the opportunity to review all of the information. My current leadership challenge is that Now the workforce is 5 generations deep. And how you reach each of those generations are different. They all work, the way that they work and what they value at work is differently. But we all have to work together. And so my challenge as a leader who continues to work in corporate is to create an environment that is fulfilling for all of those generations that are still in the workforce. Those that are past retirement age or needed to return because post-retirement. How they view work and how they work is differently as opposed to the new entrants professionals who this is their first professional job and all the people in between. And so that is my challenge on creating an environment that is fulfilling, healthy, and that encourages growth for all of those generations. I desire to become a leader who continues to consider what others need in terms of those generations. I don't ever want to be a revenue only leader, just care about what makes money without caring about the worker or the customer. I don't ever want to be a goal-oriented leader to the point where I'm killing my people. Don't care. I want them to come to work sick or whatever. That type. That's not the type of leader I am. I'm a very understanding, people-oriented type leader, and I desire to continue to be that type of leader. I mean, for 20 years, I worked in HR. I was one of the few people, as people say, that really like people. I worked there because some people who work in HR don't like people. I don't understand how that happens, but it happens. But I'm one of those people that was career HR that really cared about the people, and the businesses that I worked for 6 different industries, knew that I cared about the people. And sometimes I will push back on them and say, no, this is not right. We need to look at this again. We need to go back to the table. So that is my I Lead Best Win. My current leadership challenge is, and I desire to become a leader. And so I think the first hand that went up was Kathy. Would love to hear your responses.
Okay. I lead best when I'm operating in clarity and purpose, when I have space to think strategically, pray intentionally, and connect authentically with those I'm leading. My best leadership happens when vision, value, and communication flow in harmony. My current leadership challenge is balancing my many roles while staying fully present in each. I'm learning to delegate more, release perfection, and trust the process, understanding that growth often happens in the stretch and not in the. I desire to become a leader who leads with conviction, grace, and impact. A leader who develops other leaders, not followers. One who uses her influence to inspire excellence, model faith, and create lasting transformation in every environment I enter.
I love it. Thank you for that. Dr. D.
So I lead best when I'm leading from a place of honesty. And I'm leading from a place of wholeness where my leadership is aligned with my purpose and my goals. I lead best when I know that there's integrity and I can trust the process. I can trust the people I'm working with, and I can trust what is being told to me is all the information that there is to tell. My current leadership challenge is having that trust because of being in so many situations where I was burnt and stepping into roles where I wasn't given full transparency. So my current leadership challenge is being able to have that trust in the space that I'm put in to lead well. I desire to become a leader who can empower people to get to their full potential, to understand their lane of brilliance, as you say, Dr. Karen, but also to be able to be authentically me in whatever space I'm in.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Claire.
Like, I agree with so many people so far. It's like, so I wrote, I lead best when I can be curious, well-informed, and connected to the people, mission, purpose, and my passions. Um, so the current leadership challenge I wrote was visibility, clarity, and being able to clearly define and articulate my work, my value, my purpose, while also drowning out the noise of everyone telling me I have to pick a lane when my brain works in systems. The challenge is, how do I maintain my values, my interest, and my authenticity while centering my well-being and operating in my zone of genius. And then desire to be a leader, to become a leader who builds a legacy of love, transformation, and positive impact in the world. I desire to be well known, to be highly sought, to be well paid, and to transform and shape organizations, communities, and systems so that people can lead whole and thrive.
I love that. Manifest that. I love it. Put those words out there. Yvonne.
Yes, ma'am. I lead best when when I believe that I have clarity and that I'm in alignment with what I believe that God has given me to do. When I'm able to actually put on paper the plan, I like to really be able, if I can put it on paper, then I feel like that helps me in my moving forward of being able to lead best. My current leadership challenge is in being able to rebrand and to be in position to have the resources as a leader for my role as a leader to be able to provide um, those type of things that are necessary for those who I am leading also. And then I desire to become a leader who continues to promote transparency, integrity, and transformation, and to be able to have impact worldwide.
I love it. Dr. Bonds.
I love it all. Okay, so I'm just processing. Okay, so I lead best when I'm able to authentically be myself, corks and all, leading with compassion, clarity, and integrity without concern of judgment, but freedom to lead without fear because I have the proper information for an informed decision, and I know that I am leading with grace and with a trauma-informed mindset. Um, my current leadership challenge is navigating my disability. Oh, gosh, just reading that out loud. Okay, it's navigating my current disability in a workforce that is increasingly disrespectful for those with needs that who have invisible needs and disabilities. Um, I desire to become a leader who gives themselves the same grace that they give others, maintaining my mission and my purpose that generates monetary and spiritual wealth for my present, my future, and generational legacy.
I love that. And I actually need to borrow one of yours. If I could give myself the grace that I give others, that would be wonderful as well. Michelle, I see you down there at my screen. What are your answers to your questions?
It's so loud where I am, Dr. Karen. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna move into another room. You know, we watching the game. So I would say, in all honesty, um, I lead best when I really am in my own skin. When I feel that I don't have to be a part of something that is not me. I want to dress the way that I want to dress. I want to be the person who I am. I feel whole that way. And that's when I lead my best. When I'm not rehearsed, I lead my best when I'm coming raw. That's when I lead my best. My current leadership challenge is it was really coming back to my true identity. That was my current leadership challenge. Finding that core person that has served so long, but truly know that I am a leader because I've always led. I just did not understand the power behind leadership in a good way. And I truly desire to become a leader who people are like saying, my God, she changed my life. Like God put her in my life so that I could be this, or so that I can become a better person, or I can live my healthiest life, or I want to just be the leader that people really know they can relate to. And I want to leave my distinct fingerprint in the world, if God be willing. That's the desire that I have. And I want to make over 7 figures with that leadership. I really do.
I love it. I love it. And all of that is possible. All of everything that y'all said is possible. And I like that we want to be great leaders, but we want to be great leaders within our uniqueness. You know, we don't have to be cookie cutter, and we can still all be as successful as we want to be by being us as an individual. Some of us are quirky, some of us are quiet, some of us a little bit louder, some of us, I mean, just we're very different. And that's what I love about us as a people, is that we are different. I mean, it would be a boring place in this world if we were all the same. What do you think? I think so. So yeah, so that is that is a exercise that sometimes I have my clients do, but sometimes in corporate I have my employees do as well. One, I need them to understand that there are things that they do well. That's what that I lead best when. You know, yeah, we all have opportunities for development, but there are some things that we do well. And then our challenge is that opportunity for development. Well, we identify it and we work on it. You know, figure out what we need to do to work on it, figure out if it's something within our control, or if it's not within our control, then we may need to let it go if it's within someone else's control, and work on those things that we have control over. Just being able to identify that. And then also, there's always hope in terms of the future of what we desire to be, and build on who we are already right now, and that is who we want to become, because we are moving beings, and prayerfully we all want to build on what it is that we've obtained this far. And so that is that desire to become. So all of this is for you to have a power of self-awareness. Again, part of visibility is being self-aware as well. And it is knowing yourself deeply, knowing yourself better than what others think they know. Sometimes people will tell you about yourself and they think they're telling you about yourself, but many times we already know what it is that they're saying if it's truthful. If it's not truthful, we can identify it's not truthful too. But it's not a whole lot of times someone can tell you about yourself and you not be aware, or at least the thought cross your mind that that was a area that we need to work on. And so awareness is the first step to us making intentional impact. And so I just want us all to realize the power of self-awareness, because we need to understand that as you move to become more visible. It's going back to visibility. As you move to become more visible, we need to be self-aware of why we hesitate, why we may be afraid, why we are disobedient. You know, the spirit tell you to move, you don't move. You know, a lot of you faith-based here. God say move, and you standing there looking around like he talking to somebody else. And you know what he does? He tell you to move a little later, because you gonna move. You can move now, you can move later, but you gonna move, you know. And so he'll wait on you. That's where the free will comes from. So I'm going to put in the Facebook group a leadership self-inventory worksheet. It's not that deep. Don't worry about it. It is just some things for you to consider in terms of your leadership. And then I also want you to identify something that may be counterproductive to your goals for your business and for yourself. Identify one mindset you'll release this month. And the reason why you would put it on the release side is because it is counterproductive to where you say you want to go and you want your business to go. And then I also want you to set a 30-day leadership goal that aligns with your vision. It doesn't have to be deep. It's not a paragraph. It's just, could be one sentence. It could be a phrase that align with the vision that you have for your business as the action steps for this activity. So I'm going to drop this a little later this evening in the Facebook group. It is not something that you're going to turn into me. It is really just some self-exploratory, a worksheet where you can do some self-exploratory work, you know, to think through what possibly you might want to change, release, and add in terms of your leadership goal. So if I can get everyone to come off mute, this is our affirmation. I'm big. I believe there's power in words, power in, we need to be kind to ourselves in the words that we speak. And so today's affirmation, I want us all to say together, and it is very simple. I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. And when you're ready, I'll start off. It is, I am seen.
I am
I'm
seen.
See,
My influence
influence
creates opportunities
opportunities
My influence creates
myself
opportunity
and for others.
for myself
for myself
and for
and for
others.
others.
So now that you know what it says,
Let's
now we can
see.
say it all together like we can read.
Okay,
So
thank
we can
you.
say
All right.
1, 2, 3. I
I
am
I am
am
seen.
seen.
Seen,
My
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 influence
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 creates
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 opportunities
opportunities
opportunities for
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 myself
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 And
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 others.
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 Is that a true statement?
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. What questions do you have?
No,
I don't have a question, but Dr. Cameron, did you see Dr. Clear's message in the chat? I
oh,
know you're
No.
sharing your screen,
thanks,
so you might
Dr.
not have
Denny.
seen it.
Hold on. Nope. Hold on.
I can just say it. I don't have access to Facebook and don't use it. It's probably been closer to 10 years since I've used Facebook, so I don't have access to it.
Okay. So what we're going to do is Dr. Darlene send her the stuff. Send her the worksheets that she need.
absolutely.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dee.
I I think we can do it that way. Certainly
Okay.
don't need you or desire for you to create a Facebook account if that's not something that you know, I hang on LinkedIn. I have a Facebook account, but I have all social media, but I don't need you to, we can work around that. So we'll do, because one of the things I also want you all to establish, which is in line with the next thing that I was going to say, is I want you all each to have an accountability buddy. And you can determine who that is. That's not someone that I'm going to assign or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be done tonight. It's not something that you have to do, but I think it will be beneficial for you to have an accountability buddy in this cohort. So as you begin to learn one another and feel comfortable with one another, then you can determine who that is and approach that person in whatever way you see fit to be your accountability partner. And thank you for that. No, I didn't see that. What other questions? Let me make sure. Okay, we're good. Any other questions?
Dr. Karen, are you planning to send, I was looking for the email with the Facebook. Are you planning to send that out again?
Yeah, I will send it. I sent it to you on Messenger too. I didn't, it wasn't an email, it was in Messenger.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Are you on Facebook Messenger? Because I thought I got everybody.
Yeah. Yes,
I
ma'am.
sent one to Dr. Claire too, but her account must be, I sent one to you. So however old your account is, I found you.
It's there. I just don't know the password and don't know the password to the
Yeah.
first email.
Yeah,
to
don't worry
send
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't sent it. Well, you know
Okay.
what? Let me see. I should be able to, hold
I
on.
got it. I
You
found
got
it.
it?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
okay. I was getting ready to
Thank
say
you.
I should be able to copy it and put it in the chat. So all right. So we're gonna meet next month. I have the date of next month is holidays. I don't play around with holidays. I believe in family time. I believe in all of that. And so the next month I have November 17th. It's a little ways away from Thanksgiving, but it's not the beginning of the month. It's going to be a Monday. And so our next meeting is going to be November 17th. And of course, I'll send reminders. But the next meeting is 7:30, November 17th. How are you feeling?
Great.
I feel great, Dr. Karen. And hi,
And this was
everybody, by the
good.
way.
This is really good.
All right. So everybody got the date down. and I'll send a reminder. I'll stop my screen share. I want to see your beautiful faces for those I can see your beautiful faces. And if there are no further questions, we're going to be meeting about 2 hours each month. I like the pace. I don't like to be rushed. I like to hear what everyone has to say. I like to allow people to think about what they're going to say. And so I like the pace. So we're good. So Darlene is gonna send her the worksheet. I'll put the worksheet in the Facebook group. It'll be there probably in the morning. And it's not something you turn in to me. After each class, we'll have a reflection worksheet that's put out just for you to reflect on what all we went over, in addition to whatever notes that you take. We are also going to be including and talking about, I'll be talking about what I'm doing, where I'm going. We'll also be talking about what you're doing and where you're going, so that we can support one another as a community and as a cohort. And so be prepared to share, what you're doing. I want to hear your wins. We're going to start off with the wins. I didn't start it off with, I never do the first session with your wins, but we want to support one another. And if you know anything about me, I don't tell you I'm coming. I just show up, and I don't necessarily have to say anything because it's not about me. I'm just there until I walk up to you and speak to you. But as you become more and more visible, I want to see you being visible myself, which will require me to pop up where you are. So I need to hear about where you're planning to go so I can coordinate it with my schedule. Any other questions? Yvonne, you have a question. Your hand is raised.
Yes, ma'am. Just want to ask, so if we have something coming up before we meet again, will we just drop it in that Facebook group?
Yep. Or here's my phone number.
Okay.
You can text me 757 412 7773. I prefer you text than call. If you text me, if you need to call and talk to me, text me first so we can arrange a time where I can pick up. Otherwise, I might can't pick up, but I will arrange a time later to answer your questions and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. For those of you who have payments, I'll send out the invoices every 30 days. I don't automatically charge your credit card. And there's a reason for that. Because back in the days when I first started paying coaches, I maybe couldn't use the same credit card. So I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to what it was like back in those days. And so for those of you who are doing payment terms, I send you the invoice and you can pay with whatever credit card you want to pay with. That I will allow that as well. If you need to communicate anything to me, just send it through text or email or whatever. Reach out to me. Nothing you can say can hurt my feelings at all. I'm all about you winning, and I'm all about you being more visible, adding more value, and amplifying your voice for your business in a big way. Anybody not feeling warm and fuzzy? Okay, that's what I wanted, to smile. All right, I'm going to say good night. I'm gonna hang around in case somebody don't want to say something around you. So I'm always the last person to log off in case somebody has something to say. But you have the next date, and I'll drop the spreadsheet in there, and we'll make sure that you get the spreadsheet, Dr. Claire. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Good night,
Be
everyone.
visible. Be
Good night,
visible.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Dr. Karen.